I see it?
Okay, it's good. You're good. Go.
All right, we are good. We were told we are good.
Are we good?
That's it.
Are we good?
Yeah. Welcome
We're good.
everyone to the latest episode of Sass and the Beard. It has been a while. Kristen and I both were on.
I went to Vegas and you went
Then
to
we
Vegas.
went, yes, and had a great time in Las Vegas.
But listen, only one of us got naked in a hot tub with a monk. And it wasn't me.
I was fixing to say, it definitely was not me. There was no nakedness. I was in a hot tub with a monk and some other people, but there was no nakedness.
Sure.
I don't know where you get you. That's not what the post said, Kristen.
I read into it. Context clues.
Oh my gosh.
Context clues.
It's been too long.
It has been.
What was your favorite part of Las Vegas?
So me and my son went to Omega Mart.
Okay.
Which is
Yes.
like this really cool, like interactive art exhibit. So that's why I was there. Really, was for his birthday, and it was really fun. We had a great time. I'm broke.
Yeah.
Oh
same.
my god.
Yeah.
So expensive to
Yeah.
do anything, but we had a really good time. We really did.
We did too. My favorite part of Vegas, aside from being naked in a hot tub with people from India,
He admits it.
was the Arte Museum. It was a really cool
Wait,
experience.
did you say Arte?
Arte?
That's not just the art museum?
It's called the Arte Museum. Yes. And it was a pretty awesome experience. If you ever find yourself in Vegas,
Is that like
check it
how
out.
I class up Target?
no,
by calling
it's
it
literally the
Target?
name ARTE. I'm not trying to be schmoozy.
Okay.
That's what it was.
I mean, I call Target Target. Don't judge
Yeah,
me.
well,
so, like,
that-
I think
you
it's
know.
okay.
because
Whatever,
you
man.
bougie. That's why.
I mean, I'm not, but
You're redneck bougie. Okay.
yes, 100% that I am redneck bougie.
Tell us in the comments how you are also redneck bougie.
Well, here's my theory, right? Like, not everybody is bougie about the same things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not bougie about everything. Like my clothes, my purse, I really
Right.
don't care. Like
Yeah.
I'm not bougie about that kind of stuff. I don't care about having like a name brand handbag or something. What I am is a little bit travel bougie.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna stay in the Motel 6. I want to stay somewhere nice.
For real.
And I am wildly food bougie,
Yes.
restaurant bougie,
Yeah.
100%. All right, what's your bougie?
My bougie
Is it beard?
A little bit beard. Yeah, I'm a little particular about
Beard
the trimming.
bougie. That's okay.
And I like reading. Like I'm a nerd, but I'm like a bougie nerd.
Okay.
You know, so like high fantasy, like that kind of stuff. Like I don't want to hear about your slutty elf fantasies. Like,
You're like for
yeah.
the more classy.
Yes, absolutely. It's
The
fine that
classy.
you like those things.
Not slutty,
It's fine. I'm not going to
classy.
judge you.
Like they can
for,
still have
like-
sex, but it's classy.
Right. Yeah. Like that's what it's about. It's about the magic and the
I love the magic.
world.
Oh shit! It's so good to see you.
yes.
Nathan.
Yes. So
We have a lot to talk about tonight.
we do. I don't. Is it a lot or is it just like a lot?
It's heavy.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
like heavy.
It feels like it's heavy.
But we have good stuff too.
We do.
which I'm excited about.
Before we get to all the cool stuff, we want to take a minute to thank our sponsors.
Yes.
There's a really cool promotion from one of our sponsors. Like I think you wanted to get into that because we have a guest.
Yes.
A special guest this evening. I don't know if you can find him anywhere on the table. Waldo is here.
Waldo is here, and Waldo is also hiding in 24 downtown Russellville businesses this July,
Okay, all
which
right.
is really cool.
Yes.
So basically, if you go downtown and you spot Waldo at any of the businesses, so you can go to like Dog Ear and get, or I guess the other businesses have these too. These like
They should,
these
yeah.
squares that have all the different businesses that you can go to. You'll already have like a free spot in the middle because Beatnik Angel is closed for the summer. So all these downtown businesses are hiding a little tiny Waldo. Or if you walk past Joshua's jewelry, there's like 12 Waldos.
Yes, his brothers.
All of them. And so when you find them, you'll get a little stamp or signature on your square. And then if you find a gold medal, when you find the gold medal at Dog Year Books, collect a store stamp or signature. And when you've collected at least 12 different store stamps or signatures, you can take your stamp card back to Dog Year Books to claim a really cool Waldo sticker for this summer and get a coupon for $1 off of a purchase at Dog Year Books.
Heck yeah.
And
we
if
love
you collect,
coupons.
that's for 12 stamps. There's 24 on here, so that's for 12. If you collect at least 20 stamps, you can take your card to Dog Year Books and get a coupon, plus be entered in for a drawing for a deluxe Waldo prize pack. So the search ends on July 31st. There's going to be a grand celebration and prize drawing at Dog Year Books on August 3rd from 1 to 4. Really cool. This is something, that Emily has done downtown for a long time now.
Yeah.
I think it's a really fun thing for kids in the summer and a good way to get people to just be downtown, walk around, see what all we have. There's so many businesses that have moved downtown in the last couple of years. So many things to choose from. I mean, you could literally live in downtown Russellville now and just not leave, right? Like there's restaurants, there's pharmacies, there's everything. You could basically just not leave.
Right. Yeah, it's one of our favorite events of the year because you see so many people. We like to do things at our business that aren't necessarily for business, but are for getting the word out to who we are. And this is one of those great events downtown that we can sponsor or be a part of. And we had 30 kids come in today.
That's so awesome.
And with their parents, and everybody was looking for Waldo, but they found Wesley and Wilbur and, any other.
Those aren't Waldo?
No, they're his brothers.
Oh.
So, obviously it'd be easy to find Waldo if there were 7 of them in the window.
I thought they all counted as Waldo.
But
I was
no.
boom, got it. Just stamp my card.
They have different hats and different names, and then you have to find the real Waldo.
Oh, so this is really more like one of those, the ones where they have the drawings and everybody's wearing little red and white striped outfits and stuff to confuse you.
Yes.
It's like that.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
I
like
love
the book.
it. I love it. Shocking. My mind is blown, Nathan. It's like the book.
Shout out to the employees of Joshua's Fine Jewelry who have great ideas. That was not my idea. I did not come up with that.
I was giving my shout out to the employees of Dog Year Books
Well, yes.
for their great ideas.
No, that's their
But just
great
go ahead.
idea
You know what?
For
you know
the
what?
Where's Waldo
I'm
event.
used to men just taking credit. It's fine.
Right.
Just go with it, man.
Yeah,
I'm used to
I'm
it.
Such
it's
a little
fine.
man.
No, you didn't.
Okay,
A
so
little hobbit man.
moving on to the news of the week or the last couple of weeks. We do have some bad news. I don't know if everyone has seen the Secretary of State. So we had a lot of ballot initiatives that the signatures needed to be turned in. And there were some that got all their signatures turned in and some that didn't. One that we know that has been made a lot of notoriety for our state has been the abortion amendment.
Mm-hmm.
They turned in 111.
I think so.
1,000.
Well over 100,000.
Yes.
The minimum threshold was a little over 90,000, like 90,000 and some hundred. So less than 91.
And the Secretary of State today announced that he was basically saying they did not qualify because of, I guess, what would be considered a clerical error. There was some paperwork that needed to be completed that had not been. And so for those who support that amendment to be on the ballot, a lot of devastation because they worked really hard to gather signatures. And I'm sure those who were opposed to it are really happy. So what kind of thoughts do you have, Kristen, about not only that situation, but we can talk about all of the amendments.
So there were 3 amendments that turned in. We're going to talk about all 3 of them tonight. So one was the abortion initiative, which we're going to talk about first. Then we're going to talk about the casino initiative that was turned in, and as well as the medical marijuana. Those were the 3 that submitted their signatures.
Wait, not medical marijuana. Oh, we're getting...
It's expanding medical marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
It's still medical. It's not recreational. It's still, but it's expanding medical to include more conditions to allow for grow at home, things
More
like that.
growers, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, on abortion, I mean, I don't have any kind of insider knowledge as to what went down here, but I would just say that, like, this is not the first time we've seen them disqualify a ballot initiative on a very, like, insubstantial technicality.
Yeah.
And, they have done this now for a long time where they've kind of added more and more and more requirements every year to make it more complicated. And so it's very rare to see an initiative like the abortion initiative where it was almost entirely volunteer.
Yeah.
They did have some paid canvassers that collected less
Right.
than like 15,000 signatures, and those are the signatures that were disqualified today.
Yeah.
And they weren't because, like those canvassers weren't necessarily allowed to be collecting signatures. From how it reads to me is they were disqualified because they didn't sign the right statement to the effect that, yes, we provided every canvasser with this information, this information,
Right.
this information.
Usually people hire through a company that does all of that paperwork up front. But
Well,
in this situation,
Right, it doesn't
maybe
mean that
wasn't
they
like-
didn't
yeah.
provide it. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean they didn't follow all the steps. But based on my reading of the letter that came out, it was not that they didn't necessarily follow the steps, but that they just didn't add an additional statement to the effect. Same thing we saw in 2020 with the redistricting amendment. They
Yeah.
picked one word out
Yeah.
and said that that word disqualified everything. It
Yeah.
was one of a sponsor statement. And then that was later found to be unconstitutional.
Yeah.
But by that point, it was too late.
Right.
The election had already been done. You can't get a do-over,
Yeah.
right? And so, I'm not saying that they'll find this to be unconstitutional, but I'm saying this is the same kind of like technicality. And I believe that,
And like in maybe something that was less controversial wouldn't have been something that they brought up as a big deal.
right.
Because this kind of thing happens
Yeah,
regularly.
no, totally. If I think
Yeah.
if it was an amendment that they wanted,
They would've just been like,
would've-
"Hey,
they'd have been
can
like,
you give us that
make sure you
paperwork?"
get this in,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they did say in that statement that other initiatives had provided theirs, so I assume that also includes the casino initiative. The casino initiative turned in a very large number of signatures.
Yeah, like,
Like 160,000, almost double what they needed, which is a strong case for them, right? I mean, that is a good sign for them. Now, I will say they probably ran one of the most expensive signature collection and most aggressive signature collection campaigns I've ever seen.
what do you think's going to happen there? Do you think they'll make it through the cure period?
I'll be surprised unless they have some counties that didn't meet it. And I haven't seen the details.
And because from what I hear, like a large amount of those was from one particular area, like a big dump.
So let's just talk about kind of how the process
Okay.
works at this point. So what they do at this point, once you turn in signatures, they go through and they just look at facial validity, which means what you can see on the paper without necessarily like comparing it to the voting
Right,
rolls,
right,
right?
right.
Like you're not necessarily checking that everyone is actually a registered voter at the address they listed. Not doing all that yet. This is just facial validity, what you can see on your
Making
face.
sure it's filled out correctly, everything matches.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And with what they said today, like on abortion, that you have the appropriate paperwork in place for any paid canvassers, etc. And so, we don't know yet with the casino, but with that facial validity, if they're at least 75% of the total signatures and the county requirement, which, as you remember, went from 15 counties to 50.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. They could say that if they have two counties that aren't at 75%, they could say you're out,
Yeah.
right? So it does require that all 50 of those counties be at that 75% facial validity. So we don't know what's going to happen there yet. We
Yeah.
haven't seen. We should see soon. They're probably continuing to collect signatures. That's what most organizations
Right.
do, continue. Because then if you do get that cure period, you can move forward. Unless they have a county or a few counties that are tight, I would expect them to not need a cure period
Yeah.
with that level of
Yeah.
numbers, right? Because you'd have to have a really high disqualification
Right.
rate. And that's not usually the case you see on that facial validity, right?
Right.
Which doesn't always work in your favor because then when they go through and do that more in-depth review,
Right. Then it has to be correct.
it has to be,
Yeah.
and you have to hit the 100%. And so they could throw out signatures in that case and say you don't hit the mark and you didn't qualify for the cure period, right?
Right.
So we just don't know where that'll play out. But I do think it's important. Now, I want to read this. I reached out to Cherokee Nation Entertainment, Legends Resort, because because of this. I want people have reached out and asked us like, what's going to happen?
Right.
Are they still with us? Are they going to wait because of this? So I did receive a statement from a Cherokee Nation Entertainment spokesperson, and they told me that Legends is 100% committed to being an economic catalyst for Pope County and building the Legends Resort and Casino in Russellville. They've been working on this for nearly 6 years and are not going anywhere. With the license in hand, they are full steam ahead and working to finalize the remaining permitting and administrative processes that are required prior to construction. So,
So it is. They are working to get to the construction process.
Yes.
Basically.
yeah, they said like they're still full steam ahead,
Yeah.
which I think is great news.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think at this point, none of us want to see this just continually being held up. But the thing that gets me on this, Nathan, okay, so just real talk. Like, this isn't something I always talk about publicly, but about it. I want to talk about it publicly with people. So, I started River Valley Food for Kids here
Yes.
in, I think, 2012, maybe.
Yeah. They just celebrated 10 million meals delivered.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of the organization.
Yeah.
They've done an amazing job. It's continued beyond me, which is exactly what
Yeah.
I hoped for. But when I started that organization, I was churchy.
Yeah.
Like, I went to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
I was a devout Christian, right? And over the course of the few years that I did that, I really changed my beliefs.
Right.
Because my experience was that so many church pastors and leaders were more concerned with how do we make sure certain people don't get fed versus let's just make sure these kids have enough to eat, right? Like, they were more worried about how do we make sure the parents don't eat any of the food
Right.
or don't participate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw that so often. I saw churches that would not work with us because we allowed Muslims to volunteer.
Or because X church also donated and they didn't agree
Right. Or
with
just,
their
or
doctrine.
honestly, they
Yeah.
just straight up told me sometimes because I'm liberal and they don't want to work with me.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that experience really changed my view on religion. And looking at this casino initiative gives me those same vibes where I look at folks who I think really started this from a good place.
Right.
I do
they
believe
didn't want it in their
they
community.
wanted it
Yeah.
because they wanted to stop it because they believe it's bad for people. And that's respectable. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
down on even that. But the thing I look at now is I'm like, now that we're 6 years into this, they've probably taken $10 million nearly from another casino. Basically just sold their souls to another casino operator to try to get what they want. And that is the reason, that's the reason you won't see me in church today, is I see this happen too often, where people who claim to be out here trying to take the moral high ground and represent their faith and what they believe, and with no pause to say, could there be a better way forward, right?
Well,
No
yeah.
pause to say,
Yeah.
is this really, if I spent $10 million trying to get an initiative on the ballot, is that the thing that's going to make my community a better place to live for people? Or could that money literally change lives? I look at Food for Kids, who does an incredible job, and I'm like, $10 million would fund them
Well, just think about it
for
this way.
40 years.
That's about the amount of money that the city of Russellville, or more, that the city of Russellville has lost in tax revenue that could be put to use doing all kinds of things. But imagine that $10 million being spent to build housing for unhoused people, to give food, to help
Help people get better
We always talk
jobs.
about like, why don't kids have free lunch at school? You could have paid for every kid's lunch in the River Valley
For years, for a decade at least.
There's so much you could have done with that same $10 million instead of just.
And not to say that they
pissing it away.
shouldn't do whatever they want to do with it, right? Like they can do whatever they want to do with it. It's
Yeah.
their business. But
They're the ones that have to live with the consequences.
it does bother me when I think about it because I remember how hard I worked for years to raise literally $100,000 to feed kids for a summer. And so when you think about that in perspective of like that amount of money, what that could do for people, like that's life-changing money.
Yes.
And it's all been spent on preventing this business from coming here, right? And like I understand that there are moral challenges, right? Like I by no means think that a casino will solve every problem in Russellville, right?
No.
No, not at all.
No, I think we're doing a good job of fixing a lot of the problems without the casino.
Right.
Like that, I mean, the last city council agenda meeting that we had last night, there were multiple people that worked for the city, people that were seeking something from the city, like, and everyone said, we're so excited to be working with the city because there seems to be a common view of a path forward. Like we want to work towards fixing the issues, not getting all caught up
Right.
in the.
Like you're not gonna flip out and like protest a Walmart grocery store or something.
I mean,
Like, and not to
Yeah.
say that there weren't reasons
Yeah.
for that, but like that's the reputation Russellville has, right? Is that we're like anti-business. We don't want anyone to come here. We'll protest every business that potentially wants to be here,
yeah.
right? And so like, I don't know. I just was thinking about it a lot last night. I just think I'm like I do know some of the people who are involved in this, and I think that at their core they're good people who love this community, and we just disagree on the path forward, right? And that's okay. But also, I'm like, at what point did you? I don't know. Like to me, I think when you partner up with the people you think are the worst, like when you partner up with,
Right. Yeah.
like when you
like
believe
the
that
whole
a
point of this was
casino-
to oppose a casino.
Right.
So let's ask a casino to give us money so that we don't have to have a casino here. Because that casino also, it's just like the whole
Like that casino's not giving you money because they believe
No,
casinos are bad.
They give you money because they don't
because
want
they
a
want
competitor
more people
in
to
their
come
market.
to their casino.
And
yeah.
it's just the same reason that Blackwell, the folks in for the Dry County issue so many decades ago, like it's literally the same thing
Every time.
that we are. It's also another reason that the nuclear plant isn't in Russellville, Arkansas. It's in London. Like, and we are thankful for the nuclear plant and what it's done for the city of Russellville. But like, it could have been literally in the city of Russellville proper instead of just outside. And it's all for this same not in my backyard.
Right. And here's the
attitude.
thing, like I do think it's fair, so before all this casino stuff started, I've never really, this is not my scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so cheap. So not my scene. Listen, I went up there to get my drink and I was like, this is free, right? I'm a cheapskate. It's not my scene. I don't like to gamble. I'm not into it. I'll take like $50 in, and once it's gone, I'm out. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I do not
yeah.
like to lose money. It kills me. And so like I'd never really done it much, but
Yeah.
since it all started, I've gone to a few casinos, not Cherokee casinos. I've never been invited like as any kind of special, nothing like that.
Right. Yeah. We're not
People-
getting special favors because we
no,
like Cherokee.
listen, no, I drive my ass to
Yeah,
Tunica,
yeah.
and I actually don't stay at the one that Cherokee bought there. I stay at the one next door because it's cheaper. And so Cherokee, hit me up. I'm just like, I'll take the.
So now you're now that it's all over.
I've never had the hookup, but I would take it. But so here's the thing though. Like I'll go to Tunica every now and then, and I'm like, all right, I can see the point that like once you're inside a casino, their goal is to keep you inside
Yeah, they don't
the
want you to
casino,
leave.
right? Like
Same thing with Vegas. Like they're all connected.
Totally.
They're all connected with like covered air conditioned awnings so that you don't ever have to
just stay
go
inside,
outside. Yeah.
right? Stay inside the
Yeah.
casino. Like I get that, I do. So I don't think I am under no illusions that a casino is going to fix every problem in Russellville, right? Or like bring every solution. I'm not naive to that,
Yeah.
right? But also the thing I see when I go to Tunica is a zillion people working for a company in a very rural area where they did not have those opportunities before.
Yeah.
And so, like, there are still very positive things that come out of that. And, like, that's the stuff I want to see from Russellville. Like, I want to see for people to be able to get jobs that pay well enough that you can actually spend money back into the community, not just barely survive, right? Like, that you can actually make enough money to enjoy it. And we don't have tons of those opportunities. And this is an opportunity for that. Like, so, I don't know. You know, they turned in the initiative. We'll see if it makes it. We'll see if they get a cure period. You know, I think that we can count that, you know, Legends is going to run a campaign to oppose
Fight
it,
yeah.
right? Like, they're not going to
Yeah.
just take this laying down, I'm sure. But, here
You know,
we are.
last night at the Agenda Prep meeting was also like the quarterly report for the Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Megan Selman gave the report, and it was amazing to hear the, like, and she did not say because of the casino, but we all know that a lot of it has to do with the casino. She was talking about how our city was, you know, top tier for like 7 different major corporations on whether or not they were going to come here, you know, and I'm sure some of those things are still in the waiting, like something she can't specifically talk about. So like what we said about the casino at the origin was it's not just about a casino. It is about the opportunity once it's here to increase the job market, the
Tax base,
median income
all of
level
it, yeah.
of our community, the tax base, all of that. And the money that's being spent to oppose that is causing our community to miss out on a lot of services that could be provided. Mike, just from comments here, Mike says we're the ones that have to live with the consequences,
Exactly.
not those that oppose. And I agree with him very much so. So, yeah. So the third ballot initiative, that
turned in was the medical marijuana expansion.
Yes.
Right? You know, I haven't followed that one as closely, but the last medical marijuana initiative that was on the ballot, I was opposed to. I voted against. I was
because
not
of
a supporter.
the conglomerate of
Right, it was
who
not a good bill.
Yeah, I didn't agree with it either.
I do think that this one is a better
Yeah.
version. I have not really gotten off in the weeds of it, other than to know the weeds of it.
Yeah.
Other than to know.
I just, yeah. it
Dude,
just hit me.
yeah. Sorry. Anyway, I cracked my own self up there.
Yeah.
But I got up into the Anyway, so it does allow for like people to grow their own. I think
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
some like expanded conditions, things like that. There's a lot of different things. So that one is also out there, you know, waiting to determine whether they'll go to a cure period or not. Some of the initiatives that did not make it, the educational rights amendment, you know, honestly,
I think there's some good to that. I know kind of what you're gonna.
I personally wasn't a huge fan of that initiative.
Yeah.
Now, and not because I am also a fan of Learns, right? Like I think that
No.
Learns is damaging to our public school systems, but I think that the way the educational rights amendment was written, it basically put vouchers into our Constitution.
Yes. Yeah, because it talks about, like, you're obviously talking about vouchers in
When
in
you
the
say
amendment. Yeah.
right, when you say that the private schools would have to be at the same standard as public schools, I understand that. That sounds good, but also you're effectively creating a constitutional voucher system,
Yeah.
which is not something that I
It
think
makes
we want.
Learns part of the Constitution.
Right.
And
instead of just
yeah.
saying that like private schools shall not receive tax dollars.
Yeah, which
right.
is what-
or whatever.
yeah.
And not to say that that's the right thing either. Like there are good private schools. I'm not down on
For
private
sure.
schools. It's really just about the like taking money away from public schools to put into private schools, right? That concerns me. So, anyways, that initiative did not make it. Let's see, the Freedom of Information Act initiative.
That's the one I was kind of sad about.
Sad to see that didn't make it. The period poverty or the pink tax, the one that's about like, you know, not adding taxes
Also
on like
that.
feminine hygiene
Yes.
products and stuff like that. That didn't make it.
I was sad about the abortion amendment as well, just because, like, you know, there's this whole old white dudes telling people what to do with their body really frustrates me.
Oh yeah,
And-
it was kind of
yeah.
wild to watch every once in a while, and I didn't always follow the like media stuff on it super closely,
Yeah.
but it was funny sometimes to watch that like all of the people who were talking about like you shouldn't support this for like women who are well past menopause.
Yes, like you're not having kids anytime
Or men.
soon. It doesn't affect you.
It's all
Yeah.
men
Mhm.
and you know women who are no longer childbearing age, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, take that for what it is. Oh, listen, James said, "Will y'all come on another podcast?" Hey, sure, man, hit us up.
Invite us on there.
Listen,
She cusses, so I'm just saying you might want to have the
ain't no
bleep,
stopping that.
the bleep button ready.
It'll happen. Oh, listen, Mike Goad said not all old white dudes, and you are right.
Yes,
You are right.
Okay.
not all,
not all.
but there's a whole lot of y'all. Do you count as an old white dude yet,
Yeah,
Nathan?
there's gray in my beard. Sass in the gray beard.
Look, I got some gray too.
So, moving forward,
Oh, James said he's good with my cussing.
Okay.
He's fine with it.
should I get on Amazon and buy red robes for my wife and daughter? Are we there yet? Just to kind of get prepared.
I mean, I saw that Amanda dyed her hair red, so I
We
think
kind of clash, right?
I think she'd kick your ass.
No, yeah, definitely.
if you rolled
Yeah.
up with a red ass robe for
I just
her.
want to protect her from anything that might come in the future.
I think she'd be a Martha, right?
Yeah, no, I'm literally going to burn this place down.
I don't know. I can't remember what all the different names are.
Like, we are not.
Oh, Mike said you're not there yet. He said
No.
you're not an old white dude yet.
Oh, cool.
That's nice,
Yeah.
Mike.
I just know that if that
You're
ever happens,
wrong.
I'm the one they're coming. Like, they're coming for me in this area. They're like, that dude, we want to shut him up.
Yeah, I don't think either of us make their list of friends.
No.
Friends list.
We do appreciate you on our friends list, though, these viewers and our supporters, aka Plant Parlor,
Hell yeah.
because they're amazing. They provided us with the golden ass where Waldo sits this evening. Who are we giving the golden ass award to?
Let's think about that. Is it John Thurston?
I think so. Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Not even limited to this.
No.
Also, tomorrow.
Yeah, the whole wet signature issue.
In my job, tomorrow, the State Election Commission is having a public hearing in Little Rock to run their permanent rule that would ban electronic signatures on voter registration forms. And what's crazy about that is, like, no matter how you sign a registration form, right? Whether you sign it electronically, whether you sign it by hand, they all go through the same process.
Right, and not only
Right.
that, but like when you vote, you have to take your ID.
Exactly, which we're not against. Like, people always assume that Democrats, like, or progressives, like, don't want ID. Reasonable ID is fine.
Yeah, every
Nothing
vote counts.
wrong with it.
Like and for that, like you need to make
There's
sure that it's
nothing-
not cat in the hat.
Right, like there's no problem with asking people to show an ID. The problem is when there are some states that have taken that very
Right.
far.
It can
right?
be restrictive
Arkansas
for
is
people
not one
who
of them.
have an issue with getting an ID.
Right, Arkansas is not one of those states. Like,
Yeah.
it is not a problem here with showing ID when you go to vote, right? Like, that is
Right.
reasonable. No problem with that. The issue is that, like, if you can accept an electronic signature from, like, 6 different agencies.
To be fair, these people don't even read Apple's terms and conditions. Like this
okay,
is
but neither do I. So shut up.
Well, but my point is like you are, for all of those of you who are like, the vaccine's gonna give you a chip and you're gonna be, China's gonna find out where you are. Like they already know. You are literally carrying the chip around with you. Like there's no difference in me going, like you can sign a bank form with a digital signature.
Literally, look,
you can sign any kind of form.
When you go vote, you sign the poll book electronically.
It's right there.
That's where I got the idea.
No shit, Sherlock. Come on, like.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can sign this electronically.
Why can't I sign this one?
I wonder if there's a state law that says you could also do that with voter registration. And guess what? There is. It's been around for 23 years.
So why is there a problem if there's already a law that says you can?
Because they don't want people to.
No, because they don't want people to vote because that doesn't benefit them.
Exactly. You said it.
I know, but
You said the question and the answer.
I'm so freaking tired of these people.
Welcome to my job. No, for real though, it is complicated. I get it. So we're in the middle of a lawsuit right now with my organization. We have a federal lawsuit against the state on this wet signature issue. Continuing to fight it. There will be a public meeting tomorrow. I encourage people to attend if you're near the Little Rock area. I know that's not necessarily realistic for everybody living in Russellville, but
right, to just drive out there and be like, hey.
Just for like a 10 a.m. meeting. But
I'll be there with you in spirit.
if you cannot join in person, you can email a public comment.
Yes, I saw where you shared a link to be able to.
But if you show up in person, we're gonna have Joyce sent me buttons and stickers.
I love that.
Those are my favorite.
I love that. Those are very coveted.
They are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's all I got this week.
Me too.
I'm flying out tomorrow. I'm going to Baltimore to a convention. I have to head straight to Little Rock after this. So I'm tired. I'm done. I'm ready to go.
Okay. What are you going to do at your convention?
I'm going to learn how to be the, what was the thing called? The woke mob.
Sweet. You don't already know?
It's the woke mob training.
Okay. Will
It's
you
advanced
teach us?
woke-
Will you come back and teach us?
It's advanced
the
woke
advanced
mobbishness. It's advanced left.
Now you
wing.
already know about critical race theory, but wait till you hear about this.
No, not really. Really, it's like how do you learn to use how do you use data and how do you mobilize people to vote? It's really not.
Data. It's the agenda of the left. Data. Yeah. I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I'm so feisty. I have existential dread for the future of our democracy.
So what did you think of the debate, Nathan?
Shut up. I don't want to talk about it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. But honestly, my thoughts on the debate are you're she said we're fucked.
Yeah.
But my individual thoughts on the debate are that your vote carries very little weight with the presidential election, right? But your vote carries so much weight at the local level. So please stop paying all of your attention to the presidency. Do what you're going to do there, but pay attention to your state legislature, your state reps who are constantly up for election, your city council, your quorum court, like all of these races have so much more impact on your daily life, and your vote can actually change the outcome. So don't let the bad grandpa versus good grandpa debilitating sadness keep you from participating. That's my message.
I have a thought on that I will expand upon. My thoughts on the debate are most importantly, we focused on the thing that we already kind of understood about one person instead of the blatant, BS. So this person had a bad showing because they're old and they were sick and they're tired and they're not a great campaigner anyway. And then this person just said all of the things, and we've not talked about that. We've just talked about
because everybody expected him to do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a surprise.
But about what you said, I've been recently doing some research into So any complaint that you have about like voting, like I don't like the person. Well, there is a solution for that. It's called the primary. And if you don't vote in the primary, like literally something like anywhere from 10 to 20% of the people who didn't vote in the primary could have made up the difference to change that. And then when you get to the main event, something like less than 10% of the people who don't vote, who have no restrictions from voting, they're already on the rolls, they already got their ID, all they got to do is walk in and show up.
Yeah.
Could change, could make the difference. So less than 10% of people who don't vote could make a change. And so
And
like
we've seen
that's
that
such a
evidenced in
small
local
amount.
elections,
Like
yeah.
every election that we come to, like if you could just convince one person, like I'll watch your kid for an hour while you go vote, or I'll do, you know what I mean? Like it's such, I know that it's hard to learn about the candidates, to figure out what issues you should or shouldn't, and things are confusing. That's why things like this, like what we do, really matter, because we're not trying to tell you how, we're trying to tell you what. Yes, we are open and upfront about how we believe, but we don't care that you believe or don't believe that way. Like,
Right. We don't all have to
like,
agree.
yeah, like we just want you to feel as if it matters.
Why
Like
is it
that's
11
literally it.
million degrees back
I
there?
don't know, but like, so my thought about the debate is like, there were a ton of people who were pissed off that these are our choices. And I would imagine that many of them did not vote in a primary, did not vote in the previous election.
sure.
Arkansas has the worst voter turnout per capita of any state in the country. 38% of voters, of potential voters, so like people that have zero restriction from voting, only 38% of those people vote. Well, when 68% of that 38% vote, that's why we have 75% of one party in this state.
You lost me somewhere.
I understand.
Like when we went from
Like,
60 to 38
no.
to 75, I got a little lost, but I feel what you're
Right.
saying.
Like the governor.
Although now
got
they're trying to make it closed Republican primaries. How crazy is
you
that?
know, that way we wouldn't be able to vote for our local JPs. So
Look, we can talk about that another time. That's a lot to unpack.
yeah. Okay. So before we start flipping tables, we do want to thank you for watching our show and listening to us rant, and also coming along with us as we try to fix some of these
And sharing
issues.
information with
Yeah.
us. I love that
Yeah.
folks send us updates and details and things that are going on. Like, love it. We can't always reply. Sometimes we are not that great. Sometimes we're busy looking for Waldo.
Sometimes, you
Where
know,
is that bitch?
Sometimes I got to follow my 5-year-old around and, make sure he's not killing himself from jumping off of furniture. So
I can't tell you how many people I have told about your son said onion.
onions. That's my son's word for nuts, because we got tired of him saying that word all the time and he had to come up with a different one. And so he
So
called
now I call them onions too.
He'll be like, "Got me in the onions."
Gosh. All right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see you, Nathan.
It's good to see you too. Have fun
We'll
and
be
be
back.
safe on your trip.
Be back next week, right?
Another show next week. Let us
Maybe,
know
probably.
if there's anything going on that you would like for us to talk about. Please, please, please share this video with your friends and let them know what's going on in the River Valley area, politics and otherwise. And we'll see y'all next week.